Ancient scrolls that were buried in volcanic ash during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius are now being deciphered 2,000 years later, thanks in part to artificial intelligence.
For thousands of years, many of the secrets of our past were either buried deep under or remained elusive even in plain sight. For instance, this one ancient language was a complete puzzle until it was decoded by an AI, and what it revealed is terrifying. And this is not all. Thanks to modern technology, AI, and in some cases, sheer dumb luck, we are uncovering truths from our long-forgotten past. But as we unveil these realities, one can't help but wonder, are we simply reclaiming forgotten knowledge? Or are we opening a door to something far more mysterious, perhaps even unsettling, buried not just in ash, but in intent? This is one rollercoaster ride you can't miss. Let's get started.
So there's evidence of movements of the hands, sometimes with damage to the nails and the fingertips.
Number 15. Ötzi the Iceman. In 1991, a pair of hikers stumbled upon what they thought was a modern corpse thawing from the glacial ice in the Ötztal Alps near the Austrian-Italian border. What they had actually found was a 5,300-year-old mummy, an ancient man preserved by ice, later named Ötzi, the Iceman. Ötzi had collapsed where he died, and nature had embalmed him for millennia. Ötzi's body, clothing, tools, and even the contents of his stomach have been remarkably well preserved, providing a wealth of information that archaeologists, geneticists, and forensic scientists continue to analyze. From the tattoos etched into his skin to the moss stuffed into his boots, every detail offers a clue. His copper axe alone has forced scholars to re-evaluate the spread and use of metallurgy in prehistoric Europe, suggesting that the technology was more widespread than previously thought. Even more fascinating is the revelation that he had healed injuries, signs of long-distance travel, and an arrow lodged in his back and trauma to the head, suggesting that he was likely murdered. But Ötzi isn't just a scientific specimen, he's a story. His DNA shows he was lactose intolerant, had brown eyes, and carried genetic markers still present in modern populations in Sardinia. He had heart disease, whipworms in his intestines, and carried a medicine pouch possibly used for treating parasites. Analysis of his final meal, which was fatty ibex meat and einkorn wheat, reveals a society with both hunting and farming practices, bridging the gap between nomadic and settled lifestyles. His presence raises deeply human questions about community, conflict, health, and spirituality in an age long before writing. As technology advances, so too does our ability to extract new layers of meaning from Ötzi's frozen remains. Genomic sequencing, forensic imaging, and microscopic residue analysis continue to paint an ever more vivid portrait of this ancient man. But perhaps what is most haunting is how familiar he seems, as someone who once laughed, feared, bled, and struggled in a world not unlike our own. It is shocking how technology is unveiling truths left and right. Well, we're just getting started. Number 14. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Tucked away for nearly 2 millennia in the arid caves near Qumran by the Dead Sea, the Dead Sea Scrolls are among the most extraordinary archaeological finds of the 20th century. In 1947, a young Bedouin shepherd stumbled upon a set of ancient clay jars while searching for a lost goat. Inside were tightly wrapped parchment scrolls, miraculously preserved in the dry desert air. What seemed at first to be a handful of old writings soon turned into an immense and intricate library with more than 900 manuscripts spanning sacred texts, apocryphal works, legal documents, and deeply mystical treatises. Some of these texts date back to the 3rd century BCE, shedding light on a Jewish sect believed to be the Essenes, who separated themselves from the broader society, convinced that they were living in the end times. Among these ancient writings is the hauntingly vivid War Scroll, a dramatic text outlining an apocalyptic showdown between the Sons of Light and the Sons of Darkness. This is not a metaphorical or symbolic struggle, but a detailed and militarized conflict between divine order and the forces of chaos. Unlike other religious texts that focus solely on prophecy or moral guidance, the War Scroll reads almost like a battle manual. It describes troop formations, battle strategies, the weaponry to be used, and even age qualifications for those chosen to fight. But beneath its military precision lies something deeper, a moral and spiritual campaign. The Sons of Light are holy warriors, embodiments of righteousness, discipline, and unshakable faith, waging a final war not merely for territory, but for the soul of creation itself. For decades, the scrolls remained elusive to both the public and scholars, locked away by linguistic challenges and damaged fragments. Written in ancient Hebrew, Aramaic, and some Greek, they resisted easy translation. But now, thanks to advancements in artificial intelligence, multispectral imaging, and digital reconstruction, researchers are finally decoding sections that were once illegible or invisible to the naked eye. These technologies have breathed new life into texts that were once thought lost to time. As modern science helps unravel their secrets, the Dead Sea Scrolls are proving to be far more than relics of a forgotten past. They are blueprints of a civilization gripped by cosmic urgency, desperate to find clarity in a world teetering between divine promise and looming destruction. Number 13. Indus Valley Script. Despite the remarkable sophistication of the Indus Valley civilization, which flourished between 2600 and 1900 BCE in present-day Pakistan and northwest India, its written language remains undeciphered. Over 4,000 inscriptions have been unearthed from sites like Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, and Dholavira, showcasing a set of standardized signs that suggest a structured form of writing. But without a Rosetta Stone or any bilingual inscriptions, scholars are left guessing at what these cryptic markings truly convey. What makes the Indus script so elusive is not just the brevity of the inscriptions. Most contain fewer than 5 signs, but also the absence of any clear connection to known language families. Some researchers have speculated that the script may represent a Dravidian language, the ancient precursor to modern Tamil or Kannada, while others suggest it could belong to a lost linguistic lineage entirely. There are also theories proposing that the symbols might not constitute a true writing system at all, but instead functioned more like a proto-script or a symbolic notation used for trade, administration, or ritual. In recent years, the emergence of artificial intelligence has breathed new life into the quest to decode the Indus script. Machine learning models, trained on the structure and frequency of the signs, have begun to detect patterns, suggesting the existence of syntax and grammar and offering tentative evidence that this was, indeed, a full-fledged writing system. Yet, without understanding the sounds or meanings behind the symbols, these digital breakthroughs remain tantalizingly incomplete. But even little progress is progress, right? It's only a matter of time before we unveil the message behind the text. Number 12. The Austrian Roman Gladiator School. In the quiet fields of Carnuntum, Austria, far from the grandeur of Rome's Colosseum, archaeologists uncovered the first fully mapped gladiator school outside of Italy, revealing that the brutal pageantry of the arena extended deep into the provinces of the Roman Empire. This wasn't just a temporary training ground or makeshift camp. Using ground-penetrating radar and advanced geophysical imaging, scientists were able to digitally peel back layers of soil without disturbing the site itself, revealing a highly organized complex designed specifically for the training, housing, and conditioning of Rome's most formidable fighters. The layout they discovered was striking. At the center stood a circular training arena, almost a miniature version of the Colosseum, surrounded by structured sleeping quarters, narrow and austere, where the gladiators would have rested after grueling drills. There were also communal areas, a bathhouse for cleansing and recovery, administrative offices for record-keeping and contracts, and even a possible infirmary for treating injuries. The facility wasn't a chaotic, bloodthirsty den as often depicted in popular media. It was regimented, controlled, and intensely hierarchical. Every stone and corridor echoed with discipline, pain, and the constant presence of death. Gladiators here weren't just entertainers, they were investments, property, and tools of empire-wide propaganda. The discovery proves that gladiator training was not limited to the cultural heart of the empire. Rome exported this institution to its farthest provinces, embedding the ideology of martial prowess, fear, and control into the local population. These fighters, some volunteers but many enslaved, were groomed to represent the ideals of Roman strength and dominance in front of roaring provincial crowds. And now, centuries later, their silent barracks and shadowed arenas are telling their story. Number 11. Pompeii's Thermopolia. Wander through the ruins of Pompeii, and you'll encounter silent stone counters with deep, round holes carved into their surfaces, odd relics that once bustled with life, laughter, and the aroma of freshly prepared meals. These were the Thermopolia, ancient Roman snack bars that dotted the city streets, serving hot food and drink to locals, laborers, and travelers alike. Long before the invention of modern fast food, these eateries were essential hubs of daily life, where rich and poor mingled for a quick bite or a warm meal. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE may have frozen them in time, but what they reveal today is anything but static. Over 80 Thermopolia have been uncovered in Pompeii, an astonishing number for a city of its size. The counters, often adorned with colourful frescoes depicting food, animals, and even mythological scenes, weren't just utilitarian, they were expressions of identity, art, and commerce. Inside the dolia, the large earthenware jars built into the counters, archaeologists have found remnants of food, bits of duck bone, pig, goat, fish, and legumes, as well as traces of wine and vinegar. One especially well-preserved thermopolium featured dazzling artwork and residues that confirmed the presence of dishes like paella, like stews, seasoned meats, and drinks laced with additives like ground fava beans, perhaps for flavor or even preservation. Unlike modern eateries, these snack bars lacked seating, making them true takeout spots in a culture where many people, especially the poorer classes, lacked kitchens in their homes and depended on such establishments for nourishment. Yet there's a deeper resonance in these spaces beyond their role as proto-fast food joints. They were communal nodes, places where gossip spread, deals were struck, and society mingled without pretense. Number 10. The dagger of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Hidden among the dazzling treasures of King Tutankhamun's tomb lies a dagger forged not from earthly metal, but from the stars themselves. For decades, this blade, sheathed in gold and adorned with intricate craftsmanship, captivated archaeologists, not just for its beauty, but for the mystery surrounding its unusual iron composition. During King Tut's reign in the 14th century BCE, iron was an incredibly scarce material in Egypt, regarded as far more valuable than gold. The Egyptians had not yet developed the technology to smelt iron from ore, and yet here was a blade, perfectly formed and ornately decorated, buried with the boy king. The key to its origin wouldn't be discovered until the 21st century. In 2016, scientists applied X-ray fluorescence spectrometry to the dagger's blade, hoping to finally solve the riddle. The analysis revealed something extraordinary. The metal was rich in nickel and cobalt, a chemical fingerprint distinct from terrestrial iron. This composition precisely matched that of meteorites. With this discovery, it became clear. The dagger had been made from meteoritic iron, a material literally fallen from the sky. Interestingly, not only did the ancient Egyptians recognize the rarity and sacred value of iron from the heavens, but they also possessed the skill to craft it into ceremonial weapons fit for royalty. In their worldview, The sky was not just where the gods lived, it was a source of divine material. By placing such a blade in Tutankhamun's tomb, they weren't merely burying a weapon, they were arming him with a tool forged in the heavens. The discovery also proves that the ancients were not only astute observers of the stars, but also early practitioners of what we might now call aerospace metallurgy. In a time before telescopes or satellites, they held in their hands the remnants of the cosmos and turned them into royal treasure. Number 9. Dwarka. Today, it is buried beneath the coastal waters of Gujarat, India. Revered in Hindu tradition as the legendary kingdom of Lord Krishna, the city of Dwarka is believed to have once been a thriving, opulent city built by the deity himself after he migrated from Mathura. The ancient texts, especially the Mahabharata and various Puranas, describe it as a fortified, golden city with immense grandeur, built on the western shore of India and surrounded by the sea. According to legend, after Lord Krishna departed from the mortal world, the sea engulfed the city, submerging it beneath the waves. For centuries, this account was treated as a myth, until archaeological discoveries began to hint otherwise. In the early 2000s, a series of underwater surveys and explorations conducted by the National Institute of Oceanography and the Marine Archaeology Center began to reveal a startling reality. Off the coast of modern Dwarka and Bet Dwarka, divers found submerged structures such as stone walls, grids resembling streets, and rectangular formations that bore resemblance to ancient dwellings or fortifications. Carbon dating of artifacts recovered from the site, including pottery shards and fossilized wood, suggested an age of more than 9,000 years in some cases, predating even the oldest known civilizations like Mesopotamia and Egypt. These findings sparked global interest and reignited the debate about the historical veracity of India's ancient epics. Could Dwarka, as described in the Mahabharata, have truly existed? And if so, was it really submerged by a cataclysmic event? While the archaeological evidence remains the subject of ongoing debate and cautious interpretation, what's clear is that the discovery of submerged structures off the Gujarat coast offers tantalizing clues to an ancient civilization lost to the ocean. Whether or not this city is the same as the Dwarka described in Hindu scripture, it's undeniable that something remarkably advanced once existed there, something sophisticated enough to challenge our assumptions about the timeline of human development in South Asia. Number 8. Roman roads. Beneath the asphalt of modern highways and the foundations of bustling cities, the ancient infrastructure of an empire quietly endures. Roman roads, once the lifelines of one of history's greatest civilizations, are being rediscovered across the UK. Often hidden beneath layers of centuries-old soil and urban development. These roads, laid down nearly 2 millennia ago, weren't just paths for soldiers and merchants. They were engineered marvels designed for durability, speed, and connectivity. Today, thanks to a blend of historical sleuthing and cutting-edge technology, we're uncovering the forgotten veins of Rome's vast reach. What makes this discovery even more remarkable is the method. Historians begin with old Roman maps, travel journals, and local legends. But the real breakthroughs come from technologies like aerial photography and LiDAR, or light detection and ranging. This high-powered laser scanning system can strip away layers of vegetation and see subtle features in the landscape that the naked eye would miss. It generates intricate 3D maps of the terrain, revealing long-buried outlines of Roman roads that have resisted time, weather, and urban sprawl. Even forests and farmland can't hide them. In places like Lancashire, for instance, LiDAR helped archaeologists uncover a remarkably well-preserved 10-mile stretch of Roman road, connecting two important ancient towns hidden in plain sight for centuries. Amazing, right? Well, this next one is truly impressive. Number 7. Enigma code. Deciphered in 10 minutes. Originally crafted in the 1920s by Arthur Scherbius for commercial use, the Enigma machine soon became a vital asset to the German military, encrypting their communications with terrifying complexity. Every letter typed into the Enigma was transformed through a maze of rotors and wiring, creating codes that changed with every keystroke. Its design allowed for trillions of potential settings, making each message a riddle that only another Enigma machine could hope to solve. Or so everyone believed. During the war, British mathematician Alan Turing and his colleagues at Bletchley Park painstakingly worked to crack the Enigma's cipher. Their efforts changed the course of history, but even then, each breakthrough demanded days, sometimes weeks, of relentless calculations and code breaking. Fast forward to the 21st century, and what once required entire teams of brilliant minds over extended periods has now been compressed into minutes thanks to artificial intelligence. In a groundbreaking project conducted in 2017, researchers known as the Enigma Pattern Team deployed 2,000 virtual servers to simulate every possible Enigma setting, scanning through a staggering 41 million combinations per second. What made this feat even more remarkable was the method they used to teach the AI. By training it on Grimm's fairy tales, a collection deeply embedded in the German language and its linguistic rhythms, the AI was able to recognize subtle patterns, idioms, and structures unique to the original messages. This gave it a crucial edge, allowing it to verify the accuracy of decoded texts almost instinctively, in the same way a native speaker might notice when a sentence sounds right. As a result, the AI managed to crack the four-rotor Enigma, the most complicated version used by the German Navy, in just under 13 minutes. This triumph shows us just how far computational power has come. What once stood as a nearly impenetrable wall of secrecy is now reduced to a puzzle solvable by machines in the blink of an eye. Number 6. Viking longships. Picture the sleek, wooden Viking longships slicing through the waves, their dragon-headed prows cutting the air with an intimidating presence. These vessels were the heart of Viking society, enabling them to travel vast distances for trade, exploration, and even raids. Yet, for centuries, these legendary ships lay hidden beneath the soil of Norway, forgotten by all but the land itself. Today, these longships are being rediscovered thanks to modern technology, particularly ground-penetrating radar, or GPR. This remarkable tool has revolutionized the way archaeologists search for buried relics. GPR sends radar pulses into the ground, and when these pulses encounter a solid object, like the shape of a longship, they bounce back to the surface, creating a vivid, three-dimensional picture of what's hidden beneath. In 2018, GPR led archaeologists to a major discovery: a 20-meter-long Viking ship buried deep in a field in southeastern Norway. The ship, complete with its intricate design, offered a rare glimpse into the craftsmanship and seafaring expertise of the Vikings. But this wasn't a one-off find. Just a year later, another longship was unearthed in the same region. By scanning the surrounding areas, archaeologists can locate Viking settlements, burial mounds, and other artifacts that provide valuable insights into their way of life. These finds help us understand how the Vikings lived, worked, and traveled. Impressed, right? Well, this next one will blow your mind. Number 5. Ancient tablets decoded by AI. Roughly 5,000 years ago, in the cradle of civilization that was ancient Mesopotamia, early scribes pressed wedge-shaped impressions into soft clay, giving rise to cuneiform, the world's earliest known writing system. Over time, more than 500,000 of these clay tablets have been uncovered, containing the bureaucratic, religious, and literary records of humanity's earliest cities. Yet, despite their historical importance, the sheer volume of material, coupled with the intricacy of the script, has made large-scale translation an overwhelming task for scholars. Many tablets are partially destroyed or fragmented, and the symbols themselves are context-dependent, meaning that a single sign can have multiple sounds or meanings. These factors have long made cuneiform an enigma that even seasoned linguists have struggled to unravel, until now. Recently, a cutting-edge AI model developed by researchers has recently demonstrated the ability to translate cuneiform directly into English. More impressively, it can intelligently reconstruct missing parts of broken tablets, generating plausible versions of what the original text might have been. This isn't mere guesswork. It's the result of complex predictive modeling that factors in linguistic patterns, historical context, and known grammatical structures. In just the past year, this AI has deciphered royal edicts and administrative records dating back over 5 millennia, offering insights that would have taken human scholars decades to achieve. With each new translation, centuries-old mysteries are being resolved. But the reach of AI into the past doesn't end with cuneiform. It has also begun to unlock languages that have resisted decipherment for over a century. One such script is Ugaritic, which dates back to around 1300 BCE and has long intrigued scholars due to its connections to early Hebrew. Despite this link, Ugaritic remained largely indecipherable due to its structural similarities with cuneiform, chiefly its lack of word spacing and the polyvalent nature of its symbols. Jing Luo, a computer science doctoral student at MIT, took on this challenge under the mentorship of Professor Regina Barzilay. Together, they developed a neural machine translation model tailored to this ancient tongue. This AI model goes beyond simple character matching. It uses a minimum cost flow technique to determine the most efficient decoding pathways, cross-referencing Ugaritic patterns with data from other ancient languages. It recognizes not only words, but also the nuanced semantic relationships that reveal how the language may have been used in everyday life. What a great time to be alive, isn't it? Well, we found more treasures from History Lane. Number 4. The Terracotta Army. The Terracotta Army is more than just a breathtaking collection of life-sized clay warriors. It's a captivating mystery that has intrigued historians and archaeologists for centuries. These figures, meticulously crafted to guard the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, stand as silent sentinels over his burial site. While we marvel at their intricate details and imposing presence, we often overlook the remarkable story behind their creation. Who were the craftsmen responsible for bringing these clay soldiers to life? And what do we know about them? Thanks to cutting-edge science, we're starting to uncover the answers to these questions. In recent years, scientists have turned to advanced DNA analysis to study the remains of those buried near the tomb. These individuals are believed to have been the workers who constructed this monumental project, and the results have been surprising. The workers came from all corners of East Asia, suggesting that the creation of the Terracotta Army was not the work of a single group, but rather a massive collaborative effort. People from different regions within the Qin Empire were brought together, each contributing their skills to the construction of the army, which reflects the vast scope of the emperor's vision. Initially, scientists focused on mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down from mother to child, allowing them to trace the general origins of the workers. However, recent advances have allowed them to examine nuclear DNA, providing far more detailed information about ancestry and familial connections. Imagine being able to trace the family trees of the thousands of individuals who participated in building this world-famous archaeological wonder more than 2,000 years ago. With this genetic information, researchers can begin to put faces to the workers' names, revealing personal stories behind the soldiers, horses, and chariots that still stand as awe-inspiring testaments to ancient craftsmanship. Number 3. Heat anomalies of the Giza Pyramid. The Great Pyramids of Giza have fascinated explorers, historians, and scientists for centuries, but even after countless studies and expeditions, it seems they still hold secrets waiting to be revealed. One of the most intriguing recent developments comes from the use of thermal scanning technology, which has allowed researchers to uncover unusual heat patterns, so-called heat anomalies, within the ancient limestone structures. These subtle temperature differences have ignited a wave of curiosity and renewed hope that hidden chambers or unknown architectural features might still lie concealed within the vast stone volumes of the pyramids. Thermal scanning works on a fairly straightforward principle. Different materials absorb and release heat at different rates. Solid stone warms and cools more slowly than hollow spaces, so when a structure is scanned, variations in surface temperature can hint at the presence of voids, corridors, or even secret rooms behind the visible walls. In 2015, the Scan Pyramids project, an international team of scientists and engineers, applied this technique to the Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu, and noticed something unusual. On the pyramid's eastern side, a particular spot displayed a noticeable temperature difference compared to the blocks around it, suggesting that something unexpected might be concealed behind those stones. This initial discovery led to further investigation using muon tomography, a technique that can image the insides of massive objects by tracking particles called muons as they pass through. In 2023, after several years of careful analysis and data collection, researchers confirmed something extraordinary. A hidden corridor roughly 30 feet long lay behind the main entrance of the Great Pyramid. So, what could it be? Well, we'll have to wait for a couple more years to find that out. Number 2. The Sutton Hoo Ship Burial Site. At Sutton Hoo, in England, archaeologists uncovered the burial site of an Anglo-Saxon king, buried inside a massive ship surrounded by glittering treasures. Though the wooden ship itself had long since decayed, what remained was a ghost-like imprint in the soil. Among the items recovered were intricately crafted weapons, shimmering gold jewelry, and most famously, a helmet that would go on to become an icon of Anglo-Saxon artistry and power. But despite these breathtaking discoveries, for many years there was still so much we couldn't see, especially the full form and scale of the ship that had carried this king into the afterlife. That's where modern technology changed everything. Using ground-penetrating radar, or GPR, scientists were able to peer beneath the Earth without disturbing it, mapping out the entire structure of the ship hidden below. From the data, researchers created detailed 3D models, finally revealing what had remained invisible for centuries. The ship, it turned out, was enormous, about 90 feet long, an engineering marvel of its time, and a clear symbol of the king's dominance and prestige. And then there's the helmet. When first found, it was shattered into hundreds of rusted fragments, but through careful reconstruction, it became something truly remarkable. This wasn't just a piece of armor, it was a work of art, decorated with detailed scenes of warriors, wild animals, and mythological figures. It carried deep meaning, not only as a protective device, but also as a declaration of divine favor and royal legitimacy. Discoveries like the Sutton Hoo ship burial have revealed a culture rich in symbolism, artistry, and ritual. And it continues to reshape how we think about the roots of British identity. This next one is an enigma, and a scary one at that. Number 1. The truth behind the Voynich manuscript. In 1912, a Polish-American book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich came across a mysterious manuscript that would go on to become one of the most baffling enigmas in the world of historical texts. Now known as the Voynich manuscript, this strange volume is filled with illustrations of imaginary plants, zodiac wheels adorned with cryptic details, and odd depictions of human figures in scenes that defy conventional interpretation. Dated to the early 15th century through carbon analysis, the manuscript has stubbornly resisted every serious attempt at decipherment. Despite more than a century of scholarly attention, its language remains utterly unknown. The script is written from left to right, yet nothing within it aligns with any other documented language or writing system, past or present. The images, too, have offered little clarity, with many experts disagreeing on whether the plants are symbolic, entirely fictional, or poorly copied from older herbals. Some believe it may be a sophisticated code, a repository of lost medical or alchemical knowledge, or even an elaborate medieval hoax designed to mystify or impress. However, as technology evolves, so does our capacity to probe these ancient puzzles with fresh eyes. In recent years, artificial intelligence has stepped into the fray, offering a new glimmer of hope where traditional methods have failed. Researchers from the University of Alberta, led by Greg Kondrak and Bradley Hauer, applied AI-based pattern recognition systems to examine the text. Their findings were striking. The algorithm suggested that the script might be an encrypted form of Hebrew. When cross-referenced with a Hebrew dictionary, nearly 80% of the words appeared to match known entries, though jumbled and oddly structured, making definitive meaning elusive. One early AI translation resulted in a strange but grammatically coherent sentence. She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me and people. While this partial breakthrough lacks immediate clarity, it is perhaps the first genuine hint that the Voynich manuscript might be more than an elaborate riddle. We just have to wait to decipher it whole. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.